groups this upcoming week, I wanted to just take a few minutes to give you some helpful hints on leading your group. I remember years ago when I first started leading a group how nervous I was about leading this group. And I wish somebody would have just taken a few minutes just to give me some clues, give me some ideas about how to successfully lead a group. Well, you get to learn from my mistakes because I've learned most of the things I've learned about leading groups from the mistakes I've made over the years. So one of the things I wanted to tell you about, to talk to you about that I wish I would have known years ago is how to have a plan for a meeting. And plan actually is an acronym for 4 words. You need to know the purposes of your group, the logistics, the actions or activities that your group is going to engage in, and then the needs of your group. So let's start with the first one, and that is the purpose of your group. So why does your group exist? That's a great question to ask yourself. What do we want to accomplish with this group? And first of all, I want to just let you know that it's more than just getting through the Crimson Thread curriculum. It's more than just the head knowledge that people will get by studying this particular material, although that's great stuff. It's more about how you as a group are going to grow in your relationships with God together, particularly as God brings you together in a group, as a community, and as you share and as you care for one another, and just as you start to learn how to do life together with a group, even in the beginning weeks, as you just are starting to get to know one another. That community that you build is the environment where people can grow in their faith. And we all need that kind of community where people are taking care of us and where we can give to others as well. So first of all, as a leader, start thinking about your purpose. Why does this group exist? The second letter is L, and that stands for logistics. So think about all of the specific kinds of things that you need to think about as far as leading a group. Where are you going to meet? What time are you going to meet? If there's children involved, what are you going to do with the kids? If you've got dogs in the home, it's good to maybe put the dogs away when people arrive, just in case there's some people who come to your house and maybe they or their kids are afraid of the dogs. Take care of all of those logistics. One of the most important things is to make sure you sit in a circle as a group so that you can see one another's faces and so that you can interact and have conversation with one another as you lead the group. Another thing that you need to just think about as far as logistics goes is it's cold outside right now and you probably will have your heat up in the house, but as you add people into the room will get warmer. So you might want to think about the heat and think about turning your phones off and asking people to turn their cell phones off or on vibrate during the meeting. Just a few of the logistics, and probably you can think of some others as well. Next, the A stands for your actions or the activities of your group. In other words, what are you going to do together as a group? Of course, the Bible study, going through the curriculum, is a big part of that, but it's not the only thing. I would suggest starting with an icebreaker. Now, in the materials that you get, there's always an icebreaker that leads you into that particular discussion, but I'm talking about an icebreaker at the very beginning as people arrive. And they're starting to eat food and just starting some natural conversation. That's part of the activities. You might start to ask people what neighborhood they live in, or where they're from, or where they work, the ages of the kids, and just those kinds of questions, just so that you can start to get to know one another as a group. Start the group by sitting down and starting the discussion with the icebreaker question that's in your material. One thing I want to tell you about the material is that the Leader's Guide is there for your convenience and to help you, but it's not there for you to teach out of. There's a lot of material, maybe even too much material in the Leader's Guide. And I want to suggest to you that you just kind of read it over beforehand and get familiar with it. You can have it with you as you facilitate the group, but your main function as a leader is to ask questions and get people dialoguing around those questions. There are some great questions in the Leader's Guide that are also available in the Participant's Guide as well. Ask those questions, but the best questions that you can ask are follow-up questions. And those are the kind of questions like, so tell me more about that. Or that's an interesting story. What happened after that? Or, hey, what you're sharing is really interesting, but I'd like to hear what everybody else thinks about that as well. And that leads me to another thing. What if you have a very talkative person in your group and they are kind of monopolizing the conversation? One of the very simple things that I found that works is to wait for them to take a breath and then to just very gently say, what you're saying is very interesting and that sounds like a great story, but I would really like to hear what everybody else has to say in the group as well. So how about the rest of you? What do you think? Now, if that happens again, just do the same thing again. If it happens a third time, you probably will need to pull that person aside at the end of the meeting and just ask for their help. And just simply say, hey, you've got a lot of great things to share, but I would really like to get everybody else in the group participating as well. So could you just keep your answers a little bit shorter so that everybody else in the group has an opportunity to share as well? That's just one simple way that you can handle that. If you have other issues in your group, please feel free to call me or Laura Wingfield or some of our other staff members, and we'll be glad to help coach you through those kinds of situations. So you want to lead through this study asking questions, and remember the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule is very simple. You should be talking as a leader about 20% of the time. And most of that is asking questions in the book and follow-up questions. And of course, you can participate as well, but you want to get the discussion going and keep it moving. The rest of the group talks about 80% of the time. If you're following that 80-20 rule, you'll be on good grounds. Finally, the N stands for the needs of your group. Everybody comes to a group with their own needs. And you need to be aware as a shepherd of this group of what those needs are. And so one of the ways that you can do that is by just getting to know one another and allowing people to share their history and pay attention when you're leading a group. As you're facilitating, you should be attentively listening to what people are saying. Don't get so caught up in what's in your leader's guide that you're looking at that when people are talking. Put the leader's guide down and just listen to what people are saying. And pay attention to them and ask follow-up questions to let them know you care. Follow up during the week. If you hear that somebody says something that is maybe they would want more prayer for, they'd like to talk more about, give them a call during the week, or maybe even suggest that you go out to coffee or grab a meal together. That's a great way of showing that you care for them and that you're interested in shepherding them. Now, you want to be interested in the needs of the group, and of course, a lot of that will come out also as you pray together towards the end of the meeting. But you also should be aware of the needs of people outside of your group as well. Your group is not just a closed group that's only for you. Every great Christian group, every healthy Christian group has an outflow as well. So you should be praying for and caring for people, not just in your little circle, but outside of your circle as well. So have a plan for your group. Know what your purposes are, and talk about those as a group. This is why we exist. This is what we want to accomplish as a group. Know the logistics and take care of those in advance. And sometimes you just have to take care of those as the flow of the evening goes about as well. Be involved in the actions and activities that your group will pursue together. And then finally, know the needs of your group. Now, just one or two simple things that I found helped me when I was a new leader. I sometimes would just over-prepare for meetings. I want you to be prepared for your meeting, but mostly I want you to go into that with prayer and trust in God. The Holy Spirit will lead you, and the Holy Spirit will lead through you to the rest of the group. So yes, prepare, but don't be so over-prepared that you end up giving a lecture or that you're so nervous about the material that you're not so involved with the people. The people are so much more important than the material when you're leading a successful, healthy group. Have a great group experience. Let me know if you need any help or if you have any questions.